Hey guys, what's up? It's Natasha and welcome back to this week's video. This week I am going to discuss some murder mystery thrillers if you are interested in mystery and thrillers and all that. I do read a lot of mysteries. I do read a lot of James Patterson, but I have read a few others that have piqued my fancy. Is that the word I'm looking for? I'm going to split the video up, so there's books that I've read and then there's books that I would like to read. Before we get started, please remember to like and subscribe. Comment down below which murder mysteries you enjoy, and maybe there are some that I haven't read yet. And without any further ado, let's jump right into the video. So the first book I'm going to discuss is, of course, James Patterson, because I'm a ride or die fan of James Patterson. And it's a series. It's not a standalone, but you can read them as standalones. And it's the Detective Harriet Blue series. And the first book is Never Never. This paves the way for a big ultimate murder mystery conspiracy that has been taking place in Sydney. We follow our sex crime detective Harriet Blue, and she's called into her boss's office. What the boss reveals is that her brother, who I believe, and if I can remember correctly, is also a detective, he is the prime suspect in the brutal murders of 3 women. In order to avoid publication and the paparazzi and everything, she is transferred to the Outback to investigate the disappearance of a mine worker called Danny Carter. The more Harriet uncovers, the more she realizes that Danny is not the first mine worker to go missing, and I believe this slowly works in with her brother's case as well. The second book I would also like to mention of James Patterson, or the second series, is the Nypd Red Series. This basically just follows our main character and our main lead detective, Zach Jordan, and he is part of New York's most elite police department, and they investigate deaths and murders and brutal killings and all that of New York's most elite, like the producers and the directors and all that. It's so far a 6-part series and I'm thoroughly enjoying the whole series. I read the first book so far and couldn't put it down. I believe I read it in like 3 days. The upside about James Patterson books is they are very fast and very easy to read. The chapters are like 3-4 pages long. So that is what makes James Patterson just great. The third book is The Maid by Nita Prose. We follow our most ordinary girl you can have, and her name is Molly Gray. She cleans hotel rooms for a living and she enjoys it very much. She has some form of autism, so she doesn't pick up on social cues as other people would, and this leads to people taking advantage of her. One day her ordinary life is turned upside down when one of the hotel's most frequent customers is found dead on the floor. She finds him and she calls 911, and the way she describes everything and the way her demeanor is towards this man's death is kind of like a red flag for the detectives. So they take her in and they accuse her of his death. Molly quickly finds herself caught in a web of deception, a very sinister drug cartel, and she now has to work with detectives to try and stop the killers. For me, it was a very interesting book. If you are not used to very die-hard murder mysteries, I think you can like this one, but it just wasn't for me. Then the next book I would suggest is The Pact by Sharon Bolton. This book follows 6 graduates, high school graduates, and they are enjoying their summer before they are starting their lives in the elite of London. Unfortunately, a day goes wrong and they are the cause of a woman and her 2 children dying. Megan, one of the 6, decides she will take the blame for the group, but they will have to repay her once she gets out of prison. 20 years later, she's freed and now she's looking for payback. This was the most interesting book I read. There was a twist in there that I really didn't expect, and I would highly recommend this if you want some nail-biting thriller, play with your mind type of book. And then the last book is 13 Hours by Dion Maier. He's a South African author. And this book follows our detective Benny Grissel, and he's living his daily life. He's trying to balance his work life with his new life and his old life, and it's just one big hell of a mess. Also, he is tasked to investigate the disappearance of one American girl and the, I would say, wanted killing of the other American girl. So what these two have been doing is they were doing a Kentucky tour from, I believe, England up and down to South Africa, and during this Contiki tour they discover like a cartel thing that has been going on in the tourism industry in, I think, in South Africa. And now the one girl has been killed and the other one is being hunted for the things that she knows. We follow Detective Benny Grissel as he is trying to solve this case in 13 hours before she is caught and she is killed. It is a very good book. It had me on my toes 24/7 and I just wanted to know how it ends. Not in a bad way, but it just moves so fast paced and it just keeps you gripped. So the first one is One of Us is Lying by Karen Mcmanus. There is a TV show out about it. I haven't seen that yet because I have the strict law where I first read the books before I watch the series or the movie. This book follows 5 teenagers and they are sitting in detention because of something that they did. And then after detention, only 4 of them walk out. The other one is found dead in the classroom. And it kind of gives this idea that one of them or all 4 of them know why one of them was killed. And each of them have their own kind of secrets that might implicate them in this murder. So I don't know, the trailer looked very interesting, so I'm dying to get my hands on the book so that I can actually see what happened because I'm curious. The next book is The Perfect Child by Lucinda Berry. I believe it's also available on Kindle Unlimited if you want to go check it out. This basically follows a couple and they have this white picket fence house. They have everything they have ever wanted. The only thing that's missing is a child. I believe they can't get pregnant, so that's probably what the whole issue is about. But then the 6-year-old turns up at the hospital they work at, and then the husband forms this close-knit connection with the kid and he decides to convince his wife to actually adopt the daughter. But it seems like the 6-year-old has a very damaged psyche and it seems like she's trying to get in between the husband and the wife. And the more the wife is trying to tell her husband, look, this kid isn't right, she's trying to tear us apart, she is busy killing our marriage, she's busy, driving me away from you because all she does is lie and I seem like the bad person, the more the husband is like, no, you're imagining it. And then Hannah discovers a secret past that might push them over the edge and maybe drive the knife really through the wife and the husband's relationship. The next book is Manhunt by Gretchen Falker, and no, I believe this one is on Kindle Unlimited. Or maybe both are, and I'm just being blonde. In this post-apocalyptic world, we follow 2 trans women, and they are living and surviving day to day by killing men and harvesting their organs so that they don't live the same fate. Then we follow a man who sleeps with a gun under his pillow because he is not going to be the victim of, I believe it's kind of like a zombie issue thing. And then something happens that these 3 are squished together into a situation and they are still fighting for survival. They are battling a billionaire brat's son and they are trying to conquer their demons while also trying to figure out the relationship, the very weird relationship between the 3 of them. And this just seems like a very interesting, I don't know, gruesome book. So, I don't know, it says a lot about me, but anyway, I'm interested in seeing what this is about. And then the last book is The Jump by Martina Cole. I already have a copy for this because I like Martina Cole's writing. It is sometimes very detailed and very gruesome. Donna Brunos, who worships the ground that her husband walks on. He cannot do anything wrong up until the point where he is convicted of a murder and he's sentenced to jail for, I think, 18 years. Oh, it's a robbery. Armed robbery for 18 years. Okay, I got something right. And then, afraid that she won't survive the brutalness of the holding cell or the prison, she is determined to find proof that her husband is actually innocent. And while she's investigating this, she uncovers a series of truths that might shatter the foundation that she built her life on. This sounds like a very interesting book. I think with this book, just check for trigger warnings because I know Martina Cole is very brutal in her writing. But that is basically all I have for you. If you have more mystery recommendations, please comment down below. Maybe I'll check them out as well. And also remember to like and subscribe, and I'll see you guys in a video next week. Bye!